Hello and welcome to FPL Onside, a new podcast with me, Darren. I hope everyone is doing well. Wanted to give you a podcast straight away, show you some of the new graphics, show you what we're doing here, explain a little bit about what's going to be coming on the channel, because I want to get it right for you guys. I want the new season to start well. Unlike my season we're about to analyze for the first podcast, but I want you to give me feedback. Let me know what you think about the graphics, about everything, and I want to tailor it to make it really happy for you guys. As you know, I used to be part of the Man On podcast. Craig is also doing his own individual content, so please go and follow him. When I can, I'll be tweeting him out as well. I want his channel to grow and be successful. We're very different people in the way we present. He is very tactical. He likes to do a lot of big analysis, a lot of heat maps and things like that, which I'm okay with. I like to do that too. On occasion, you'll see that this season. But for me, I'm covering a lot of games. I'm doing FPL, Gaffer, Dream Team. So, if Sky makes a return, goodness me. So who knows? I'll be doing a lot of podcasts. So my tactical part won't be so much. I'll be giving you the easier pods, the quicker, easy listening pods is what I would go with there. So hope you enjoyed the intro movie. What's missing? Music. Don't worry. It's coming. I wouldn't let you down. The band who did the Man On theme, they are going to do a new intro and outro for this pod. They're just busy. Obviously, they're a band. So as soon as I can, I will get that. And I'm hoping that's next week, actually, from discussions this morning. So here we go. The first pod. What a way to jump in. My season, analysing a bloody disaster. It was, unfortunately, an awful season for me. That's 2 bad seasons in a row, actually. I need to get back up to the big times. I don't know why this is happening. We're here to analyse it a little bit. Give me feedback by all means. But a lot of stuff in the data here that I've taken from various sites. Well, let's jump in. So I finished 1.9 million. Absolutely atrocious, if I'm completely honest with you. Embarrassing. I'm embarrassed about my FPL rank. Not my small. No, don't worry about that. That's what you'll also get on this channel. A lot of humour. I can't do anything without humour. You know me. So yeah, FPL rank 1.9 million. I'm not happy with it. Total points 2268. That means you can have a look at what you've got compared to me, but you should know your rank anyway. But just sit a minute and marvel at that. Not too long. So team value, the highest time it peaked was in game week 23 at 104.4. People like things in team value, so I put it in there for you. The highest game week rank I ever got was game week 7, which actually came 3 game weeks after a wild card. So there might be something in that. Maybe it was planning for the future of them. But 876k is still not a good game rank for the best overall rank that I ever got. Mad, isn't it, actually, to have that as the best overall rank you got in a whole season? Just inside the top mil. That's really, really bad. So huge improvements needed there. Game week 35 was my best ever game week rank, and even that 200, basically just outside 200, just inside 200k. That's really, really poor. We did a pod as the Man On, and I'm going to reference it because I had 4 great seasons with the guys. We did a pod a long time ago on what it takes to win FPL, and you need some really high finishes throughout the season, obviously. That is not it. That will not win me FPL, which is obviously the goal. So we're going to really deep dive into a little bit of my analysis here. And this pod today is a little bit probably stat heavy, more so than I would normally do, but it is an analysis. It is an analysis. Let's put your teeth in that. Of my season. So it kind of needs to be a little bit stat heavy. Future pods are not going to be as stat heavy. It's going to be my team and the moves I'm making and potentially 1 or 2 slides on why. And I want to open up and tell you what I'm going to be doing through the season. But the chip use was really telling for me this year, and I've never been good at using chips. And I don't know if that's the same for everybody. struggling with the same potential ones. But if you look at it, I had 3 positive and 3 negative. Both my wildcards were never a positive thing. Both of them, you'd expect on a wildcard for the first week of that wildcard that you set yourself up for that week and the future. And I lost. I pulled my first one in game week 4. And again, we'll come on to something actually. Let's move on. Let's go positive first. So as you can see, the positive chips are the ones that I used in the later game weeks of the season. So free hit, it was in game week 29. I made 161,000 places in that week. That's not that great for a free hit at all. I think with free hit, the whole idea is to maximize what you're doing, the actual targeting fixtures for that game week. So I'd say that you probably needed a lot more than 161,000 climb. Now, maybe free hit game week 29 was when a lot of people did do the free hit. And if it is, then that's potentially why people chose better picks than I did. But for me, that's not enough. I pulled my bench boost in game week 38. Why is that so significant? Well, it's the last game week. Didn't know when to play the bench boost this year. Really struggled when to play it. I should have prioritized double game weeks potentially, should have set myself up for it. But I never, ever really had a strong bench all through the season, which we'll come on to in a moment. I always had kind of 1 or 2 players in there around the 4 million mark who were just fodder to make more money in the team, which isn't actually a way I normally like to play. And I think part of my bad season was a lot of persuasion and things by other people and listening maybe to the wrong people, excuse me. So I never had a strong bench. Again, assistant manager chip. I fucking hated it. There's no reason that the rank change of game week 34 to 36 was anything to do with Ruben Amorim and Man United. It wasn't. He didn't do very well for me at all. As you can see, last part of the year, I still had the ass man chip and a bench boost. I panicked. I had to play him. I did it. Simple as that. Man United didn't have terrible fixtures at that point. They had beatable teams that were 5 places above them. So had worked out like I thought, it could have been a lot better. But that rank change there has nothing to do with him or Man United in itself. So it's there because it was a positive, that 3 game week stretch. But yeah, not through him. More to do with the players I picked at that point. I was making sensible options. As you can see, wildcards are a big problem for me. Wildcards should be played when your team's full of injuries, potentially to set it up for a long period of time. Game week 4 was a terrible time to play it. It was far too early. We'll come on to a bit later what I need to do next season. One of those things is not play that thing so bloody early. Set yourself up with consistent playing players from the season previously and not take too many punts in your first couple of weeks. Get yourself seated, have a look around for 6 to 8 game weeks before you even think about touching anything like a wild card. I lost for game week 4. I lost 500,000 places by playing my game week, my wild card in game week 4. Absolutely dreadful. Game week 20, and what you've noticed here is I've spunked my wild cards early. Game week 4, gone. Game week 20, when you've got the new one, gone. Why? Why did I do that? I didn't plan. I didn't look. I just did it. Maybe pressure. Maybe I saw lots of other managers doing it and thought, yeah, I want a piece of that. It's exciting. Playing a wild card for me is exciting. You get a brand new team. This is great. Get rid of 2 or 3 players that aren't doing it for you. Change it all around. It's exciting. It's like picking a new team. The best part of FPL sometimes is sitting there at the very start going, I've got so many drafts, so many great ideas and players, and maybe it's the excitement thing that got to me, but I blew them early and terribly. And then triple captain, yeah, that's a difficult one. Like I played it in game week 9 and I put it on Haaland. And I think he had one of the bottom teams, one of the newly promoted teams, and he got 18 points. 18 points for a triple captain is poor. You certainly want more than that. So, yeah, blew that one, unfortunately. Could have been different. I could have been sat here saying that could have been in the positive. It's Haaland at the end of the day. We all know what he's capable of. he could have scored a hat trick against one of the newly promoted sides quite easily. I think it was Ipswich. I should have looked into that. That's bad pod planning by me. Something I need to get better at. But yeah, it was Haaland. It was game week 9, as I said there, and he got 18 points there. I do know that. See, but yeah, to play triple captain and lose 500,000 rank, not on my fucking watch. Not again. So players was a difficult one for me. I found this year to be a difficult season, and I think it was the lack of striker options that was a huge problem to me. Isak wasn't a problem. He scored 18 goals, I think. He was fantastic. And he played 25 times for me. The next person who played the most for me was actually Nicholas Jackson right at the start of the season. And I think at one point there was we had some strikers that were playing. We had Haaland, Isak, Jackson, Watkins, Solanke at the point. And a lot of people were jumping to Solanke, and I was like, do you know what? I'm going to go to Jackson. And at that point, it paid off. And he actually did really well for me. So then he got injured, obviously. And I just felt our striker options through the year really dwindled. You know, apart from Isak, who else was there? Haaland was injured for a spell. Marmoush came in, and he was pretty good for a while on and off. We had Visser, obviously, who stepped in a little bit as well. I should have played him potentially more and not been so put off by the fact it's Brentford. You know, I played Bumo for 18 game weeks, so why didn't I double up? And that's something else I need to look at, doubling up. You'll notice here there's kind of no double ups in defence or anything like that. And it's something Craig is actually quite passionate about, is the doubling up in defence and things like that. And I don't do it. It's something I probably should do more often. You know, I've got Gabriel as a 11 times he started in my team. That was 11 different times to Saliba. I'm pretty sure of it. I think I started with Gabriel and then I moved to Saliba after Gabriel was injured or out for a period of time. So I really need to. I think striker options was a problem this year for me. I didn't find myself playing that. We'll look in formations in a minute, but I think for me it was very telling when I looked at the most played players in my team this year, and it was a 5 in midfield. I think we found our worth in FPL that midfielders are the ones that get you the points, and I think I need to take that into next year to have one premium striker, one average, and then one of the lower, and then really spend that money in the midfield and a bit in defence. That is also telling, actually. There's something we'll look at later on where it kind of really gives you an idea and some thought. But as you can see here, Henderson played for me 15 times, Robertson 14, Trent 22, Saliba 14, Palmer and Salah both 23, Ismail Sarr 13, Bumo 18, KDB. Oh, by De Bruyne, you have been magnificent, if I'm honest, for Man City and in the Premier League. I'm one of my favourite midfielders. But I shouldn't have played you 11 times this year. Quite simply put, it was... people normally say head over heart or stuff like that. I went with the heart this time with KDB every single time and played you because I loved you. But 11 times was too many because a lot of those times you didn't start. 2 times I captained you, though. We'll look at that. Got that right, didn't I? We'll come on to that in a minute. I mean, there's something in our season had to go right because so far it's been dog shit. I swear on my pod. My apologies. Tell me to tone it down in the comments if you wish to. So yeah, that is who played for me. You know, Gordon popped up. Morgan Gibbs-White at the end when Forest were doing pretty well. I put him in a few times, and I struggled with keepers as well. It was another one. Henderson played 15 times when Crystal Palace had a good run of fixtures near the end of the season. But Flecken and Verbruggen were the 2 I kind of started with, I think, and went between them. And more often than not, I actually got the goalkeeper selection wrong. Surprise. But yeah, so premium midfield, I think, is the way to go in the future. Maybe this year we'll have more striker options. Let's see what people do in the transfer window, which has been quite fun so far. So if we continue to look into our players, we'll see a couple of big things here. You know, Isak, Salah, Palmer, they turned over great points. I would probably say that for the price that Alexander-Arnold was, the fact I played him 22 times and he only scored me 118 points, I don't know how I feel about that. I think I should have downgraded him earlier, maybe upgraded somebody else, but I think I put too much faith in Trent in reality. Robinson is the big one for me. I played him 14 times. I benched him 20. And actually, I benched 47 of his points. He actually scored less for me than he did on the bench. I really made a mistake with Robinson this year. Maybe I need to get over who the teams are. That's a huge thing. And I didn't put a graphic in here for this, but I did have a graphic of who I picked from different teams, and Fulham were way low. Everton, I didn't have a single player all season. That's not madness, is it? It's Everton. At the end of the day, I don't potentially like them. But yeah, Robinson is a. When I saw that, I was like, I really messed that up. Absolutely messed that one up. And yeah, I benched SAR's 14 points as well, which is quite frustrating. As you can see with Flecken and Verbruggen, I messed them up as well. Benched points, a lot of them really couldn't decide back and forward who to go for. Formation wise, and this was big for me, because I was talking earlier just now about strikers and how we struggled for them. Yet I managed to play a 3-4-3 for 19 game weeks. The reason for that, quite simple, but the average points on it, the lowest out of all of them. Strikers score you points, or so they should. If a striker scores, he gets 5 points. Normally, or 4 points. If they play a full game, they're going to get an extra point, etc., etc. You expect your striker, you want your striker to score 2, 3. How often does that happen? And that is something I really need to think about going forward. Yes, I've got 3 strikers. I don't need to play 3 strikers. They're not all going to score 2 a brace or more each game week. It's just not going to happen. Really need to have a look at playing more defenders or more midfielders. And that is really telling within the 3-5-2 and the 4-4-2. Where I played an extra midfielder or an extra defender, I scored more points than average. Makes perfect sense. Now, obviously the average is slightly skewed due to the times played, but I know full well that 3-4-3, I was not playing 3 prime strikers. Like, I was playing a prime, maybe Isak, maybe then someone slightly lower, Vissa potentially, and then I was playing someone shit like Delap, who isn't shit, by the way, I should say. Just wasn't in a good team. He was playing for Ipswich, and there was a time where he did score 1 or 2 goals in a row, and it was great. But more often than not, I'm hoping he grabs a goal here and there. I could have put someone else in midfield, like Ismail Sarr, for instance, who I probably benched part of his role, part of his 14 points on my bench to play Delap. Like, I shouldn't have done it. I need to be more sensible with those type of picks. I did a 5-5-3 bench boost. Obviously, yeah, bench boost doesn't really count because, it's a 5-5-3. But yeah, again, 71 points on my bench boost. Barely anybody on my bench actually scored any points. It was pathetic. It was just actually my real team that did well for once. So actually, that was a good game week. And I played a 5-3-2 once. And I got 62 points from that. And I think that is also something that's very viable next season, is going heavier on the defense. And we'll see that in a moment, actually, when we jump over to not this screen, it's the next one, actually, I think after this. Is it? We'll have a look. Yes. We're going to look into captaincy first. Captain Fantastic. And I want to say, looking by the green here, and we'll move on to that in a minute, that I've done quite well with the captaincy picks. So my captain's total captain points for the year was 566. And my vice captain points were 218. If I had actually switched them, so instead of captain, I went to vice captain instead, so I switched them, I'd have got 451 points. So actually, 9 times out of 10, out of the 2 players that I was considering, I picked the right one, which is good to know. I had to get something right. The total captain points as a percentage of highest possible was 53, right bang in the middle. Now, the total points, if I nailed the captaincy and vice captaincy, so got it right each week, would have been 2-3-5-2. So 84 difference to what I actually got. I'm okay with that. Do you know what? Genuinely, it's a 50-50 call. I am airing very well on the side of I've done good on that. And you can see that by the captain scores for each game week. Now, it depends on what you count as a good captain score. There's a 10 in green here. That's 5 doubled. Is that a good captain return for the week when you've got things like 28s, 26s in here? I've got a 58 in here, and you'd expect that to be triple captain. It wasn't. It was Salah. Game week 28, I think. No, game week 23. Game week 23, Salah 58. So when you got, I got 2 captaincy. Look at that week for captaincy was great. Look, a 32, a 58, and a 40 in there. Boom! What a great couple of weeks. But more often than not, you can see green here and decently high numbers. I think anything from 12 onwards, I'd say let's go with being good. 18, I think if you get an 18 each week from your captain and then a little bit more, you're doing really well. In fact, from that game week there, 18, there wasn't really another low number until the very end of the year. So more often than not, I'm getting the captaincy shout right. That's good. But it's not hard to get the captaincy right, is it? And that's the problem with that, I think, when you're looking at this and thinking, oh, well, Darren nailed his captains. It's not hard to nail your captain, is it? You can see who I picked. 254 of my points, captaincy points, came from Mo Salah 11 times. So, on average, Isak, again, an easy one to pick. Haaland was an absolute disaster as captain for me. He only got 34 points from 5 appearances as captain. An average of 6.8. When you're comparing it, thinking he's a premium, and you're comparing him to Isak and Salah, I mean, obviously Isak and Salah are sort of premiums in their own right, but it's nowhere near as good as it. That is beautiful. Captain De Bruyne twice, and he got 46 captaincy points both times in general in overall. I'm pretty happy with that. That's a really good captaincy shout, isn't it? That's when you really nail it. That's what you want to be doing every single week, is getting your captain to get you that many points over 2 games. And Bumo, the one time I captained him, he got 12 points as well. So not awful. I think it's that one there, actually, the third last game week. So, yes. We'll ignore things like Alexander-Arnold and João Pedro and probably Chris Wood as well. Those, as you can see, right down the bottom, probably punts I took. Bumo's the only one that paid off, and I wouldn't even call that one a gamble. Wood, Pedro, and Arnold, probably a bit of a gamble. The others, not so much. So, the graphic here, for me, was odd. And I don't know if there's anything to read into it, but it's extremely roller coaster. 10, 14... it's like mid, high, mid, low, mid, high, mid, low, low. It's just doing that. I don't know what that was, but here it comes again. Just mad in reality that I can't consistently get a line and get the captaincy right each week. And there will be weeks where, you might do a captaincy and he might score a hat trick, and the next week after that you captain him again, he gets 1 goal. Well, it's still a decent captain return, I guess, but it is going to look your trajectory down. But I thought maybe you could get that more in an equal playing field, at least with a few highs. There's a really big one there for Salah. But yeah, for me, captaincy, I don't think that's an option. We're doing an analysis of good and bad captains. I'd say good. I'd say I've done all right. Last slide now, I believe. So we're looking at the transfers and the position points we get as well. Transfers, I'm poor. I've always been poor at transfers. I'm going to take a sip of tea. You also get me drinking tea on a pod. Maybe not when I do one live, but 47 transfers in total. What concerns me is 52 hits. And I said at the start of this season, I wouldn't be doing that many hits again. And with the 5 transfers in play, where you can roll up to 5, not 5 transfers in play, where you can roll up to 5, I should say. I thought it'd be easier. It wasn't. I hated rolling. I'm a manager who likes to make changes, to freshen things up. I get excited by having a look at stats and jumping into who could be the next big couple of weeks kind of bandwagon. Don't normally hit it, unfortunately, but I try and I take hits to do it. And that's why 52 hits is a lot of points to lose, I think. So I really need to be careful with transfers next season. Total auto subs was 14, which meant I actually didn't pick a player who was going to play 14 times. That in itself is actually quite bad. I think a lot of that was KDP, if I'm honest. Picked him far too many times he didn't play, but there's absolutely times where I picked players who, for some reason, didn't start. They were punty. I think Foden, I did it once or twice. I picked him and he didn't start. He didn't have a great season at all. He really didn't have a great season, did he, Foden? Not as impactful as a season before, put it that way. So for me, yeah, again, auto subs 14. Don't care really about the auto sub points being 40, is what it is. But my immediate points gained from transfers is 191. I don't know if that's good. I haven't got a benchmark, but I'd say that considering I took a lot of hits, it's not great, if I'm completely honest with you. Immediate points from transfers 47. I'd expect me, if I'm making a transfer, for it to be a little bit higher. There may be something in it to transfer in people that you're going to captain for the game week. I think that would be a thing. So in terms of position points, transfers made in the positions, I should say, you can see that I made a lot of midfield and forward transfers, and that was always trying to swap out forwards because I love to play three up front because, as I explained before, strikers get you points, don't they? It's not happened. And I think for me, the midfield is spot on, 22 transfers, but I personally think I'd make more there in the future, or at least an even more spread with defence. I think for next year, I'm going to set two strikers, two decent strikers, like Isak and let's just say Watkins, for example. He's going to have a good season with Aston Villa, or I think so anyway. Pre-season looks like it. And I'm just going to go, okay, that's it. That's my two strikers, and I'm going to get one cheap one, and I set in stone. Until one of them gets injured or suspended for 3 games or something, I'm not really going to touch them. I think that could be a way to go and really play with the midfield and the defence and see how that goes. Never made a transfer for a goalkeeper. I must have done. I did. I definitely did, because I went to Sanchez over Verbruggen, so I don't understand why that one is saying that. Maybe it was one of those free ones. No, I know why. I never made a transfer with a goalkeeper because I changed it on my wild card, which wouldn't count. That makes perfect sense, doesn't it? So yes, I only changed goalkeepers on wild cards as well, which I'm okay with. Like, I think, and again, I refer to Craig as a good advocate. He doesn't change goalkeepers much at all either. Like, you get two, you set them in stone, and they rotate them through the season. It's only if one gets long-term injured or dropped for ages is the way you potentially might have to. But I don't personally like to make goalkeeper changes. I want to go further up the field, the ones that are really going to score the points. And then you can actually see the position points I got, and this is why I look at the forwards, for instance, and I got 516 total points from them, but I got 870 from my midfield, 480 from defense. It's not far off 516 of the forwards, is it? Number of the position used as well. Yeah, it's slightly less, but for me, I think that again is really telling. So I mean, I want people to take things away from this pod. This isn't a pod where I say this is, I'm analysing my season. Going forward, I'm going to be trying to help you guys formulate good ideas with players from stats and stuff like that, and telling you what I'm going to be doing. We're very much analysing what I did last season and how I want to change it. But I think I want you to take things away as well. So for me, if you guys can take anything from this pod so far, I think you need to look at prioritising midfield and defence next year as well. Maybe you struggled with forwards, maybe you struggled with total transfer hits and stuff like that this season as well. So hopefully you're picking up things. That's what I want it to be informative. And then sort of the benching stuff as well. So, active double-digit point haul 66. Okay, that's not bad. I don't know, again, a benchmark of whether or not that's good. I'd say 66 double-digit hauls for the season. That's not bad. And I benched double-digit hauls only 4 times. I know 2 of them, I think, was Saar. Again, if I've only benched, one of them was Robinson as well. If I've benched only 4 double-digit hauls in the season, that's not terrible. So again, the benching, I'm getting more or less right. Robinson was a big fail. So was the Saar double points once or twice. But benching-wise, I'm choosing the right players. in my team from my squad. The total played keeper points was 156, and I actually benched 96 keeper points, which again for me is a big flag. Benching 96 keeper points, I only actually got 156 from my keepers in total. So there's only there's not much difference there. So for me, I think I need to really look at keepers next season, potentially have not a premium, but a decent mid-range one and one of the cheap ones, and just rotate. I think, I should have stuck with kind of Raya all season. And I'll be fair, Craig and Martin both mentioned Raya at the start of the season, and I think they mostly stuck with him. It does use up an Arsenal slot. There's always that kind of thing going on for teams. But for me, I got the keepers wrong a lot. And, the times I played the wrong keeper, so the fewer points keeper, was 14 times. It's a lot of even when I had two keepers in my team, I didn't play the fixtures well. I was picking the wrong keeper each week. 14 times. Yes, that's not good enough for me. So next season, it's not the last slide. The next one is. So next season, what can we do to improve? Well, I'm hoping doing this podcast is going to help me as well, because I'm going to talk through my decisions. I'm going to go and look at data and bring it to your attention as well. So I think from doing this individually, I'm going to learn a lot through that and statistics. So what am I going to do? I am going to listen to noise. Like, one thing I try and do is filter the noise that I get. But I think what I've been doing is listening to the wrong noise and blocking out the good noise. I need to listen to more podcasts and stuff like that, which I used to do. And my rank wasn't terrible. Then I stopped. And all of a sudden, I'm not doing so well. So I need to get into the habit of listening to some more noise. Don't try and be different. Like, that's one huge thing. If Martin and Craig were both bringing in Watkins for whatever reason, I'd be like, well, I don't want to do that. And I used to do that because of the pod. It was one thing. Like, we all wanted to be a little bit different because it's a good talking point. But the other thing is, I was going to a lesser player, but to be a little bit different, to maybe they'll score more as well. And 9 times out of 10 didn't happen. So don't listen to noise. Don't try and be different. Absorb content. Plan my chips. Chip usage is awful, as we demonstrated. I've no problem calling myself out. I did terrible with them. I need to sort of look at the double game weeks for bench boost, save my wildcard, past January, past the new season. 4 game weeks in was ludicrous to play it. I had no problems. Why did I do it? Stick to core performers. We looked at today the likes of Salah, Palmer, Isak, all smashing it. I stuck with them. That's a good formula. So stick to the core performers. One blank from them isn't bad. Palmer had a spell where he was smashing it, then he stopped, and we had a real barren spell for him. I got rid of him. Then he scored 4. Remember that 4 he scored in that game? I actually transferred him out the week before that because he had like 3 games with nothing. I was like, wow, what's the point? Get rid of him. He came back and scored 4. Livid. Avoid bandwagons. Skip the hype traps. Stick to the strong XG and XA minutes. Absolutely. Like, I'm terrible for hype traps. That's one thing I need to sort of with the noise. I don't see that many, the podcasts I listen to mainly, they don't have that sort of hype trap. They're very good pods. They normally are people who are finishing high. So they're the good pods. Let's just say that. So for me, I need to skip those hype traps. Data-led decision. So consistency, minutes played, XGI over fixtures alone. I'm terrible for fixtures. I see Man City versus Southampton. I think fantastic. That's a goal fest. It's not. Southampton are just going to shut up shop, for instance. They won't this season. They're in the Championship. But, last season they would shut up shop, and I think they did do that against Man City. It was a very hard game for Man City to break them down. It came late. It wasn't your Haaland scoring. I think it was Marmoush and Bernardo Silva or Gundogan. That's it. That what happens there. It just finishes. Like, you can't do anything. So have a look at data. Have a look at that. Look at consistency in the minutes played of players, goal involvement. Just ignore the fixtures alone. So how to start? So we're going to start with a flexible 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. 3-4-3 because if I think at the start of the season you normally have all the strikers available, so there is that chance that I could go back on what I've said previously today and maximize the 3 strikers. But I'm more inclined, I think, next season to start with a 3-5-2. Keep the 1 or 2 premiums plus 2 reliable mids and 2 starting forwards. I've already alluded to that. 2 forwards that will definitely start. One that, is a low team one, potentially rolls over, can bench him a lot. But it's the premium mids I'm happy with, and maybe 1 or 2 premium defenders. Pick nailed defenders with attacking upside. I was really bad this season. I avoided Munez. I avoided Kirkez. Why? Because Bournemouth concede, Crystal Palace concede. Yeah, but these guys were churning out attacking returns here and there. Like, I really messed up. Anthony Robinson was also churning out them, and I had him in my team, and I didn't play him because I'm scared Fulham will concede. But if Fulham concede 1, he gets 2 assists. That's still a lot better than anyone whose defenders did nothing for the week. You know what I mean? So for me, I need to think about those defenders, those fullbacks. Game to week to this is a huge one for me. Game week 1 to 4 is crucial. Pick consistent starters hugely. Pick people that from last season, played, started, were good. Go for the people who are always in the team, played 36, games, for instance. Salah played 38 games, started every game. Look at people like him. Don't pull your wild card early like I did. Don't look at it. Set yourself up for a good couple of weeks. Avoid early wild cards. There you go. Unless your team is drastically failing. Again, the wild card for me is a fun thing to do, fun thing to have, but it's there to be utilized as a chip, as something that you need to use when your team's in trouble. 2 suspensions, 3 injuries. Okay, I need to wild card, not just because your team's not played well for 2 weeks and you're getting itchy feet. Don't get swayed by Twitter X hype. Well, that can happen, absolutely. I hope, I'm going to be more active on Twitter, but I'm going to try and ignore the type of things I read and do, and I'm going to concentrate more from that very Captain Smarter one. Listen to the noise, don't be different. And use historical data. One thing I need to really do better, and it's going to help doing this pod, is jumping in to look at past games. Okay, this week, for instance, it doesn't really work because Bumo's just moved to Brentford. But this week, Villa have got, let's say, Chelsea. Well, how does Watkins do against Chelsea in the past? Couple of fixtures they've played. Okay, he scored, out of the last 4 games, he scored 5 goals. Okay, that might be your reason to go for him this week. He's considered this week. He's consistently played well recently, does well against Chelsea. It's not a bad pick. If he doesn't score, it's just a bad outcome. It's not a bad decision because you backed it up with data. Okay. There we go. I'll replicate that for you. And I'm wearing the same hoodie as well. I didn't take that today. Thank you so much. That is the first pod. It's a bit longer than my other pods will be. I'm pretty sure on that. But this one was dumping into analysis of my season. So I thought that it was definitely worth doing. You get a little introduction to me. Please give me feedback on the pod, guys. Not more on what I said and did today, because it's very different to what I'll be doing in the future. By all means, you can. If you can't hear me, that would be a good start. Also, a waste of 30 minutes. But let me know what you think of the color scheme. Let me know what you think of the production and then the sound and things like that. I want to make it great for you. Going forward, I'll be covering Gaffer, Dream Team, and FPL. That's Gaffer Super League as well. I did very, very well in that this year. So I'm keen to do some stuff on that because I do like my global leagues. So like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm FPL _Onside, and I'll see you soon for another one. There's an outro video. There's no outro music, but you will love it when it arrives. Thank you, everyone.